Good night to the good people of St. James North, especially, and wider St. James, and those of my friends who have come down, some of my long-time friends to be Peter St. Hill here, and those of you from wider Barbados. I remember standing here, of course, about 5 months ago at similar meeting, semi-national we called it, an enhanced sport meeting. The party at that time had carried out a poll. It was about 2 weeks before election, and found I was comfortably ahead and said, boy Eddie, you're on now. Already held a national meeting at St. Hill, you fend for yourself. And we said that the people of the Western deserved more than a sport meeting. So we mounted a semi-national similar to this. This one, the setting is augmented and much better, and thanks to Jefferson Innes, who is over there for the stage, and Miss Lashley in Link Road for the lovely palms, and the lighting organized by Jude as well. And thank you for coming. The election is now less than a week away. The hour is counting down. It is now less than 175 hours to go. Tomorrow, when we all wake up with God's will, it will be 6 days to the election. 3,800 days of Democratic Labour Party suffration of the people of Barbados is quietly and quickly drawing to a close. And with your will, on the 25th of May, next week, Friday, a Barbados Labour Party government ready, prepared, capable of trying to bring back this country from the economic and social doldrums where we have found ourselves after the worst government in the history of the Caribbean will start. We need your help, though, for that to happen. We are satisfied that our record in St. James North, which you've heard a bit about and which I would expand on, will merit your vote. We are not assuming that you will give us your vote. We still humbly come and ask for it, based on our record, based on the fact that I'm a member of what I consider the best team of candidates ever to present themselves on a political platform in Barbados, and led by what we have no doubt the most qualified, the best prepared, the most intelligent, the best trained and experienced person ever to present themselves to the people of Barbados as the Prime Minister and political leader of this country. But first, I wish to thank those who have come tonight to support my candidature, Glenn Clark, my fellow Member of Parliament, not only my fellow Member of Parliament, but my friend. I'm godfather of one of his children. Ryan Strawn, simply one of the best economists in Barbados. No one in the Democratic Labour Party government has the economic ability and acumen of a Ryan Strawn, and he must be part of our team in Parliament, our economic team, helping us to recover economically in this country. He would have helped formulate our economic policy going forward. He and Dr. Clyde Maskell, of course, and we do not have to speak about his reputation, and Master Carroll, one of our young, brilliant candidates, economist, former economist at a leading regional institution, specialist in women's development. And you know, we in the Barbados Labour Party always promote women, not like the other party who just cusses them all the time, really and truly has no respect for them, both by their acts and deeds. Master specialist as well in poverty alleviation. These are the kind of people that we're bringing to you, asking for them to be elected into the Parliament of Barbados to serve you and to treat towards the most vulnerable people in this community and in Barbados. We know that we can do it, that we can pull back this country from the brink where it is at present. Not only on the brink of society and economics, but on the brink of governance. This Democratic Labour Party has led Barbados to a situation where we're almost a banana republic. And I mean, I could say many examples, but you simply look, for example, at the Electoral Boundaries Commission, part of an arm of the government, coming under the ministerial mandate of a Prime Minister. So you have to believe that it is the Prime Minister whose silent hand is guiding them. And where they seem to be ignoring a directive of the courts of Barbados, including the highest court of the land, the Caribbean Court of Justice. Because up to today, 2 Commonwealth citizens who the court has said needs to be registered to vote in this general election next week, Thursday, are being denied the right to vote. And we just waiting to see. And it affects here too. I mean, some people might say, boy, Eddie, you don't need the vote. I'm looking to get every single possible vote. Because I ain't giving away votes. I'm a competitive person, was an athlete at school, tennis champion of junior in Barbados, and I always look to win by as wide a margin as I could. And a lot of St. Lucians here in Barbados, CARICOM people, who are entitled to vote after 3 years, as the law of the land said from 1966, the Constitution of Barbados. In fact, it used to be after 1 year residence here, and then it was changed to 3. And people still not getting on a register, being given a law. So we descend into Banana Republic. This is an embarrassment now, when under the last Barbados Labour Party administration, you had no less a person than the United Nations Secretary General speaking about Barbados punching above its weight. But this Democratic Labour Party government, after 3,800 days, have not only shown their incompetence, they've not only led Barbados into 23 economic downgrades, into being one of the 5 most indebted countries in the world per population, at debt to GDP at 160%, to a situation where they have extracted the highest amount of tax dollars from the people of Barbados, $26 billion, 26 and 9 zeros. And one of the problems with this is that you've had the worst Minister of Finance in the history of Barbados leading this cause. And, you know, figures is a problem for him because, you know, 26 billion has 9 zeros and he may have difficulty with that. He certainly has had difficulty with figures in the past. And one wonders how we are in this type of situation, where after 40 new or increase in taxes, including taxes such as a bicycle tax and cell phone tax implemented after the 3rd attempt to do so, municipal solid waste tax affecting people on this coast especially, because, you know, when you have big name properties like Alang down the road and others here in Lower Carlton, and you might have a poor chattel house or wall and painted house as they have, and you being charged municipal solid waste tax and increased land tax because your house happens to be side of these big multi-million-dollar properties. And NSRL, as Ryan would have spoken about, and my daughter Erica, who I love so dearly and who stood before this same crowd on this same spot as well, introducing me as well 5 years, 4 months ago at this same meeting. Ryan would have spoken about, and you have NSRL, as I said, put on top of that, a second VAT coming in first at 2%, then increase immediately after, within a year, by 500% to 10%. And VAT increased too, by 18%. Was supposed to be only for 18 months. That was what was said. But the 18 months 9 years gone and the 18 months hasn't come back yet. But that is the Democratic Labour Party for you, deceit, lies and propaganda. That is how they lie their way through all the time. You cannot take their word. Even their manifesto, which is being launched while I speak, you can take it and tear it up because they say it's not a social contract. So don't believe anything that they may promise you. The public servants in this country know not to believe them. Lisa and Donna Sandiford, who here, know that they were promised in 2008 January duty-free cars. They were public servants. Duty-free cars they were to get, and they were to get interest-free mortgages on their first-time houses. You heard anything about those promises since the Dems got in office in January 2008? The police here, and we thank you, sirs, for providing security, not only here tonight, but throughout the length and breadth of Barbados. And I empathize with you because you were said to be special people. And you were to get all kind of increases in salary and allowances. And as it stands, the police as well as other public servants have not got an increase in salary for 9.5 years. The police themselves, the duty allowance that they used to get, overtime and all kind of things, taken away from them under an uncaring Democratic Labour Party government. And this in a situation where, as Ryan said, they have got back their 10% increase in salary. April the 15th, 2016, an order signed by the Minister of Finance on the direction of Cabinet to restore their 10%. That is an increase because look, it meant that the next month they were getting 10% more than what they got previously. So I understand English language very well. Don't mind those who try to defend it. They were getting 10% more at the end of the day. So effectively they told you that as Minister of Government, they could not survive on $180,000 a year, plus $200 US each time they travel each day, which they don't spend because they're looked after by the conference organizers, or the conference they attend, or the Barbados High Commissions or embassies situate in the countries they go to, plus travel allowance and entertainment allowance. You were told that they had families to look after and mortgages to pay. But those of you who live from month to month struggling had to fend for yourselves, couldn't care less about you all. In some cases, 3 members of a household laid off after you were told 3 months before last election by no less a person than the Prime Minister that they would not lay off one single public servant. Immediately, within 6 months, 4,000 public servants gone home. And an uncaring government that laid off people from Beautify Barbados and Drainage on All Year's Day. It could not cross my mind that you could lay off someone on All Year's Day. Getting ready to go to church in the night to ask the Lord for His blessings and best wishes for the next year and to thank Him for the year that has gone. Or to go on party, you're thinking about enjoying yourself, and you receive termination papers. That is the hallmark of an uncaring government. That is the hallmark. That is an indication of a political party that has no place in terms of the governance structure of a country. And that is a party that has lost its philosophical moorings. Because yes, there are people who would have loved the Democratic Labour Party because of their founding member, who we made a national hero, the Right Excellent Errol Barrow. But if Barrow were to come back from his watery grave tonight and survey this political, economic and social landscape for 24 hours, tomorrow he will call a cabinet meeting and dismiss each and every member of cabinet. He will not wait till Thursday, where you will have the opportunity to deal with them And with God's will deal with it. And he will dismiss them tomorrow. I say, you are an absolute disgrace and embarrassment. You have destroyed my legacy. My legacy of education, whereby poor working class people have had the opportunity to go to the University of the West Indies situated in Barbados for over 50 years, and by that have been able to improve their socio-economic status, not only theirs but that of their family and that of their community, destroyed by a decision made in August 2013 to impose tuition fees on university students, Barbadian university students at the University of the West Indies. And that affected especially women, who are the foundation and the support of any society, certainly the Barbados society. Because 75% of the student population at the University of the West Indies are female. So many women, especially those who had children as well to educate and to feed and clothe, dropped out of university. As Sir Hilary Beckow said, that decision set back women in Barbados by 20 years. Not one woman in Barbados ought to vote for the Democratic Labour Party. Because like I said, they don't respect you either in terms of the policies or in the words or actions. Because the insults that they have heard at our political leader, Mia Motley, just because she happens to be a woman, you know. I mean, her hair and everything else, everything the fine wrong is like if they were not born of women. But that is how they have always operated. But we plan to restore University of the West Indies education for Barbados free of cost if you give us that opportunity next week, Thursday. From September, the horse train, we will find the money to provide state-funded University of the West Indies education, just as it was found for 50 years before 2014. And, you know, those naysayers who ask how we going to find the money. The fact is that Barbados, as a small island developing state, newly emerged out of colonialism. In fact, when it was started in 1963, we were still a colony. Barbados could never ever have afforded free university education for all its citizens. Never. But the money was found in each case because each government of Barbados, from the Errol Barrow government through to the Tom Adams, Owen Arthur, right down to the David Thompson government, found the way because it realized it was a priority. It was a priority in terms of the development of our human resources and for the socio-economic development of our people. Hold on, give me a chance. Hold on, give me a chance to talk, I know you want to hear me real bad, but give the others a chance to hear me too. And there is no Barbados Labour Party candidate who would have the gall or the irrelevance after being educated by you, the taxpayers of Barbados, and your parents and grandparents, who would have made that decision. I could not imagine sitting in a cabinet and being part of that decision when 14 of the 17 Democratic Labour Party cabinet ministers who made that decision were university educated, you know, at your expense. None of them won any exhibition or scholarship. None of them deserved or merit to be funded by you. One of them, who can get so much lashes by Mia next week Thursday, it ain't funny. Spent 9 years at university to get 1 degree. 9 whole years to get 1 degree. He should have to pay back the 6 years that he took in overtime. The Prime Minister himself 10 whole years you paid for his education at University of the West Indies and law school to get 2 first degrees, you know, a master's and then law school certificate. And what benefit has it been? Because he still insults you all the time. Every time he speaks, it's a good thing probably. We call for him to speak more, but it's a good thing he doesn't speak any more than he does. Because every time he speaks, he insults the people of Barbados. Whether it is that you sucking on the nipples of the state, or that, you know, when the workers were fired, you sent home the temporary workers, that it was no big deal because temporary, when he looked up in the dictionary, meant short term and not permanent. Or whatever else, insulting you all the time, calling teachers, Cheryl here, teacher, you know, that you're getting on like agricultural laborers, now keeping so much noise for what is your due. Can't even meet with the Minister of Education, who is a former teachers union trade unionist as well. These are people who have got arrogant, contemptuous, callous. They don't care about you, your grandmother, your child, or your grandchild not yet born. Don't get tied up. Don't fool yourselves that they do. And it is time for them to go. They've overstayed their welcome. They've had 3,800 days, 10 years, 5 months. When a normal term is 5 years. Even that, some people were starting to wonder, asking me, but Eddie, it looked like if we ain't gonna have elections. It reached that stage where people felt now that we would have some constitutional crisis and elections weren't gonna be called. That's what it came down to. And I had to be telling people, no. We can't be so bad. We got to have elections by the end of May. And when the date of election was announced, a universal relief throughout Barbados, that we got a countdown for 28 days before election. We know that in St. James North, that you will accept that our record is good. And we're going to draw the comparison. Erica spoke a lot about what we have done, and you all know whether it's with the schools and young people, because they're the future of society, and mentoring them. And you know, I feel so good whenever I go at St. Albans, Gordon Greenwich, whenever I walk the streets, all the young children know me. And it is shown that, you know, Gordon Greenwich, every time they have a nomination, because they hold it there in the afternoon of nomination, they themselves hold a poll among some classes. And for the second time running, both last time and this time, I understand that I got every vote except one. You know, the afternoon in a nomination when I was canvassing in Upper Carlton, a 7-year-old child said, Mr. I vote for you this afternoon. I said, wait, I said, I'd call again, man, how many votes I get, man, Miss Hinkson always vote for you except one, man. Just like last time. And children know best how to judge character better than adults many times. Whether we work with the churches and the NGOs, the cricket team, the community-based organizations, try to look after as best we can the elderly, people with disabilities, my key policy area. All of this we have done. We've intervened with the ministries to try to make life softer and better for people in the community, and that has been unsuccessful, I must confess. Simply because the Democratic Labour Party government has decided that they will not spend one single dollar to help anyone in St. James North, or to repair any road in St. James North, or to put any piece of wood on any old person house or person with disabilities in St. James North. That is a fact. 3 cabinet ministers told me so at various instances. Eddie, we don't win St. James North. St. James North people don't vote for us. We ain't spending the money in your constituency. The fire truck just passed through. Normally the fire truck will be going right there. Normally after a year ago the fire truck will be reversing there. The police would not be able to park there. That way it would be going. the Democratic Labour Party closed a whole fire station, which is part of the community of Weston, Dublin Road, Beards Road, which was their part of the culture, which, as I understand it, and the police could correct me if I am wrong, used to prevent drugs coming in to Barbados from right here at Weston, because policemen, firemen, people in uniform here. So the drugs ain't coming in here. They would have to come in somewhere else. And not even I am told that they're going to close it. So I don't care, they don't respect me. No problem with that. I fight them toe to toe in the ring, punch them up, box them up all over the place in Parliament. But they should respect the office of a Member of Parliament, because the Member of Parliament is representative for the people. Even if they don't respect me, they don't respect my office, at least they should respect you. I could not fathom doing an act like that. And I don't come as a Minister of Home Affairs or as the caretaker for the DLP to this community center here, call all y'all, invite all y'all, and say we closing this community center because X, Y. Even if we closing it because we selling it to some foreign interest for $30 million, the land round here, I don't know, because that is the rumor, I don't know. But when you are arrogant and you disrespect people and you have no cause for them, that is how you treat them. There is absolutely no way that rumors should have been flying about. You're hearing how to sign an agreement for sale with this person, that person was walking about looking because they're now going to sell it, beachfront property, and they're going to get all of this money and where and who can get cut from selling it, and that the fish market can go to. That should not be the case. And I was hearing these rumors for months. And then one Saturday morning I went in at the fire station. I said, man, fellas, tell me, man, what's going on here? They said, Mr. Hinkson, don't tell nobody, we tell you. But we've been told, man, to pack up, we move in to Arch Hall in the next 9 days. I say, well. And you know, ironically, around that time, as you all know, they had 2 fires, 2 houses burned down, in each case within a half mile, 3/4 of a mile from here. One this side, Grafton Goodrich, one that side, Rhea Richards and Samantha Edwards and their families. So, there is now no fire station in northern Barbados. Let me repeat that. St. Lucie ain't got the fire station, St. Peter ain't got the fire station, St. Andrew ain't got the fire station, St. Joseph ain't got the fire station, St. James ain't got no fire station. Do they care about you who live in the north of Barbados or anywhere else? We have to win with your will. All the seats in the North Barbados, we got to win St. Lucie because the present representative, the outgoing representative of St. Lucie is an embarrassment to the people and government of Barbados. An embarrassment who has to go because political representation ain't pitching marbles, you know. And you can't have representing Barbados at that level somebody who tells you that 20% is more than 80%. I mean, Peter here is a mathematician, went to school with me, Peter St. Hill, Cheryl, teacher, they got other teachers here, or that. He came here at a time, remember, and cussed Sajikov real bad. He only had an audience of 5 people and 2 dogs, but still, cussed Sajikov bad and tell you take your money out of Sajikov just because Sajikov moved one of its headquarters out of Barbados based on the fact of Barbados' 23 successive economic downgrades. Their credit rating was being affected too. So they took a business decision to move. And he comes and tells you to take your money out of Sagicor when he must be didn't know. Sagicor is one of the entities that lends the government of Barbados money to pay public servants like those who are here every month. Because the government got to borrow $50–60 million every month to pay public servants because of its poor economic management. So Peter Phillips has to win. He has a national obligation to remove Barbados of an absolute embarrassment to this country. Someone who David Thompson and I disagreed on virtually everything. But on one issue, we were at one. And that was that the representative outgoing of St. Lucie was not fit to be in a cabinet of Barbados. David Thompson never put him in, was never going to put him in a cabinet. But back to the fire station. And after they closed the fire station, I immediately laid a resolution, private member, a parliamentary question in Parliament on the 11th of May 2017, just over a year ago, asking what we're going on here essentially. What plans you now have for the fire station? Are you going to repair it and refurbish it and bring it back up? There are no fire stations now in the 5 northern parishes. Does the minister know what we're going to do? Do you plan to reopen it? What arrangements now will you make to service these 5 northern parishes, districts and communities which now don't have fire stations, and when you have an emergency, because you all know that 5 minutes can make a difference between loss of human life and salvation of human life in a fire. So when now the fire truck got to take 5–10 minutes more to reach down this side than if it were at Weston, by that time somebody dead, the whole house gone, when it could have been saved. And I asked what plans were there for the future of this site in the event that the DLP government didn't plan to do anything about it. Questions unanswered. Questions to the Minister of Home Affairs, who happens to be the Attorney General. But you know, we're accustomed to him. I know him from school. They spoke about him. No track record in terms of academic intelligence. The worst Attorney General ever in the history of Barbados. Someone who had the first Attorney General of Barbados never have any presence either at the private bar or either at the criminal bar or the civil bar anywhere in Barbados or in the world. So I didn't expect any responses. But on this point alone, no Democratic Labour Party candidate should be able to walk about Weston. Jeff Thompson, who chairing this meeting tonight, has told them don't come up there in Mount Stanfast. Well, there ain't nothing up there for you, don't be looking wrong. But any Democratic Labour Party candidate, if you see them, or any canvasser, you should run them about here. Because they first have to answer that question as to why tonight Western Fire Station is closed. And when they answer that question, you could then entertain any other conversation with them. But this Democratic Labour Party continues to insult you. Because the individual who says he's ran last time, fairly and squarely beaten, and if he cared about you, he would have kept in touch with you. He would have helped your development. He would have helped your churches, your organizations, your schools. But he had no presence for over 5 years. Absolute disrespect of people. One then told me, but you know what, Mr. Hinkson, he ain't disrespect us as much as he disrespect himself. But he can't expect now to come and get any votes, not even from the Dems. But you can't treat people that way. This politics, you have to have a passion and commitment for it. First thing, my wife family will tell you from the time I wake up in the morning that I eat, dream and sleep politics and people. And you all know that because all you all receive phone calls on your birthday. Every year. And that is not only a birthday call to wish you happy birthday, because I am crying about your family. How your child are at school. How your child doing. In the exams, the CXCs. Child that left school, what are doing now? the need to go and get some skills for the world of work. We have a life skills program, Clarkson Foundation, of which I am patron of. My wife is chairman of it. My wife here, Beverly, my campaign manager, Hartford here, Hartford Howell, director of it. Faye, who spoke tonight. Jeff, who is chairing this meeting. These are the kind of people I have. Involving, of course, some of my best friends, my family, but also people within the community and within Barbados, helping me serve you. And we bring in the life and work skills program then to help your children who may need some life and work skills in terms of training and how to conduct yourselves at a job interview, how to write curriculum vitae, how to, when you get a job now, treat towards the customers and your boss and your fellow employees, how to resolve conflict, how to work as a team. All of that we do, all on our own expense. We raise funds every year for this. What has the Democratic Labour Party done for the people of St. James North since coming into office, except tell you that they can't do anything for you? Rural development, it is a shame. Numerous letters written. I brought the file back with letters. About 95, 98%, in fact, must be 99% unanswered. Written to various ministers, whether it's the Minister of the Environment, asking to alleviate the flood problem on this coast. Trench, especially within 10 minutes of heavy rainfall, trench like a river. You're even frightened to drive your car through. But yet, money obtained from the United Nations for climate change control in Barbados. Some was to go up in trench. Not 1 cent gone up in there. I know where it gone. You know, but yet big buildings being built. SSA, $30 million voted to build that building. You know it costs more than that. You know it costs more than that because the Democratic Labour Party government like enough buildings with steel. Steel in there, enough steel in there. Not one garbage truck bought. So less than 10 garbage trucks leaving SSA on any given day. And when they come back in, invariably 2 breakdowns. But yet $26 billion extracted from you in taxpayers' money. Not one bus purchased. When we left office, 200 buses on the road. 200, now 70. And those that they're burning up, someone sent me one on my, sent me a video on my cell phone. You all want to? Yeah, all we get this because this is the age of social media. Oh, daddy, a big hole in the bus. But yet they're paying a Trinidadian man $20,000 a month, plus allowing him money, getting money to go home every month to repair buses. Steel somewhere in there too. And this is one of the fundamental problems of why Barbados finds itself in this position. On the 17th of May 2018, after 3,800 days of Democratic Labour Party governance, we have not had any prevention of corruption legislation or integrity in public life legislation passed by this Parliament of Barbados. After one of the main points that David Thompson and the Democratic Labour Party made in the campaign leading up to the 2008 election is that the Barbados Labour Party cabinet was corrupt and that they were going to bring in this legislation, prevention of corruption legislation and integrity in public life legislation within 100 days in office. You know, they were going American style, first 100 days. And that ministers were going to have to declare their assets and that they were going to have transparency in government and bring freedom of information legislation. Nothing so done. In fact, the Prevention of Corruption Act passed as one of the last acts of Parliament in December 2012. Still not enforced or established. No commission established. An Attorney General telling you that people like Edmund Hinkson, who keep in noise for prevention of corruption legislation, making silly noises, said so 2 years ago. A Prime Minister again insulted your intelligence by telling you that the present 1929 Act, Prevention of Corruption Act in Barbados, 6 pages, that is all it is. 6 pages passed in 1929 colonial Barbados. Word for word based on a 1917, 100-year-old UK Act. That is adequate for Barbados today. He insulting your intelligence because he know better than that. But he feel you foolish and you gonna believe him. When they had no social media then, they had computers, laptops, cell phones, nothing at all. But that is enough. But they know why they have failed to pass that legislation. One of them told me, when I asked why not, said, you really feel we gonna pass legislation to lock up we black people? But so you find now people who 11 years ago were writing bounce checks, driving about all kind of luxury vehicles, got all kind of castles, about Barbados. You see them on the internet. Allegedly money, all kind of places, stored away in various jurisdictions in the developed world. Driving both 2 of them, the Minister of Transport and the Minister of the Environment, being given vehicles, X5 BMWs, $400,000. Given to them by businesses, a business that their ministries or departments under them or statutory boards doing business with. That is wrong. That is wrong. There's a church just there, St. Albans Church, which I attended on Sunday. Some of you all go there. June Thompson, the Sandy First here. One Garden Church of God, less than half mile away. You take your children to those churches because you want them guided in morality and to know what is right from wrong and to build up the quality of their character so that by certainly A7 when your character is already formed that you know what is right from wrong. But you have a situation where big men who are cabinet ministers don't know that that is wrong. So because when then the business gets a contract for $1 million, for example, when for all intents and purposes the market value of it should be only $500,000, who you think paying the other $500,000? It coming from you, the taxpayers of Barbados. That is straight, because sometimes I feel that we, the Barbados Labour Party, don't make the linkage between spiritual wickedness in high places and the corrupt practices of people in high places and how it affects you, the people of Barbados. Because all global indications show that an economy is depressed by about 3-4% because of corrupt practices. We will have zero tolerance for corruption. And we know that you, the people of Barbados, want to see somebody locked up, brought to criminal justice. Because we can't have these kind of situations where money from Clico, for example, you up to now, you can't get your money that was in Clico after so many years, but people walking about, friends and pals of the Prime Minister as described by the Prime Minister. This can't go on. We have to have law and justice for all in Barbados. Because they're going to lock up somebody from Weston or the Wim or Trent or Mount Stanfast for stealing a tin of corned beef from a supermarket. And the first time they go, they can't even get bail. I'm not condoning them doing that. But if that happening, those that carry away millions of dollars and those that got money in a deceased mother's bank account that the siblings rightly calling for part of 2, got to get locked up too. Well, it's only fair. We got to have equality and justice in this country. And we will pass an Integrity and Commission Act as one of our first acts of Parliament. We have had a draft on our website for the last 6 months asking for comments from you. We need to pass that act because we are serious about corruption. In fact, I am disappointed that I became a parliamentarian without having to declare my assets and my liabilities, because I feel that it is of prime importance that that be done. We have to have accountability and transparency in the governance of any country if we are going to move on to be a developed country, as we in the Barbados Labour Party sought to have Barbados move to by 2025. We intend, for example, to bring, as you heard before, to increase the old age pensions of old people in this country. The non-contributory old age pensions right now are $155 a week. We plan to increase it to $255. And again, some of you may ask where the money will come from. But we're going to reprofile the debt. You've heard us use that word. You can say you restructure it, same thing. But we're going to reprofile the debt. And y'all understand what that is. Because at some stage, some of y'all would have gone to one financial institution because you have a loan, let's say with a credit union, loan with the bank, you got car loan to pay, you got mortgage interest to pay, you got credit card debt, and you're going now to consolidate these loans with one institution so you can get a better deal, pay less money in loan repayment each month at a lower interest rate. That is all it is, you know. That is all it is. And we know, we have done the cost studies on it. We have the economists. We have been working, preparing ourselves for many years now. We know that we can save $500,000 or so in interest payments each year by reprofiling this debt, stretching it out. And that $500,000 can go to improve the health services of Barbados, the hospital, the garbage collection, the public transport, the social welfare system, which has been tampered with, whereby people with disabilities, some of them are getting less money now from the NIS. And whereby you know that when you get sick, that when you go on maternity benefits, that when you get dismissed and you're now unemployed, it's taking months and months to get your benefits, whereas before that was not the case. We can pay public servants a cost of living allowance if within the first 3 months of us coming into office with your will, that salary negotiations for an increase in salary are not concluded. Again, this is an area where the Dems have insulted you, because they told you they would have paid a cost of living allowance in public servants, $49 million. And I could not believe that that Parliament was dissolved without them giving the public servants a cost of living allowance after they hadn't got anything in their hand increased for over 9 years. But I see a Democratic Labour Party government for you. After promising you better terms, they haven't given you anything. Every single public servant in Barbados, all 25,000 or whatever, should vote in favour of the Barbados Labour Party and help out the Democratic Labour Party. You can bet your life that if the Democratic Labour Party was to win this government, that more civil servants can get layoffs. Don't fool yourself. One government minister in fact told me in November that if the Dems win, they're going to the IMF. So don't mind this hysteria about them that they won't create about the BLP going to the IMF. If the Democratic Labour Party, by some quirk of nature, were to win this government, they're carrying Barbados into the IMF. Don't fool yourself. We plan to decriminalize illegal vending. And again, vending is dear to the heart, not only of people of St. James North, but people of all over Barbados. Historically, that is what a lot of people in Africa used to do, Western Africa, Ghana, etc. And it can't be a situation where a man or a woman trying to get money to look after the family, trying to get it legally, and are being harassed by the police because of archaic laws which criminalize vending in a lot of cases in this country. We're gonna have a profile and structure for vending and decriminalize it, because you can't make criminals out of people who are trying to earn a decent living. We can pay the reverse tax credit because of $1,300 a year. You know that we, Liz, former cabinet minister, who will wrap up here tonight, we know that the Barbados Labour Party conceptualized the reverse tax credit because, and it was made essentially to buttress you having to pay VAT. The establishment of VAT, as you know, took away about 15 taxes and lowered the cost of living in Barbados and the taxation. But we brought in a reverse tax credit to protect the most vulnerable in society. Barbados Labour Party government, of which Liz was a cabinet minister. So those earning less than $8,000 a year got a tax credit, reverse tax credit. And when we left office, it was at $1,300 a month. The DLP immediately reduced that to $650, a year. Reduced it to $650 a year. And they don't even get it in your hand. People today owed reverse tax credit for 3 years. Just like how they owed income tax for 3 years. The Dems now rushing out, all like now, so to give you a 2014 reverse tax credit, to try to bribe you. People like David Commission, a man, a principal, we went to school with him, Peter here and I, sent back his, because he said he ain't taking a bribe. So he sent back his, you ought to see that too on your cell phone, because that went viral too. Because he said, you can't bribe me, you ain't buying my vote, take back your $500, I ain't owed it. So that is where we are in terms of governance in this country. We're going to address, Cheryl and other teachers here, the issue of bullying and violence in schools. Major social problem that has developed in the regime of this Democratic Labour Party over the last couple of years. A minister of education, again the worst minister of education out of 13 in the history of Barbados, and you started Ministry of Education in the 50s under the Right Excellent Sir Grantley Herbert Adams. He was the first Minister of Education. That Minister of Education and his sidekick, Parliamentary Secretary, who running down here, failing to address the issue. The Minister of Education saying in Parliament 2 years ago that he's going to form a committee to look into this issue of bullying and violence that getting out of hand. Not one commission formed. No recommendations made. We can put, first thing, safety officers on the public transport buses to deal with the issue. From that time, you're on your way to school, you can't mess wrong on the bus. You can put more psychologists in the ministries of education, because you only got one psychologist in a whole Ministry of Education that traditionally has got 20% or more of the budget of the country, and only one. So we're going to increase that. We're going to put guidance counselors in the schools, so that people like Cindy Hippolyte here, who trained in social welfare and sociology, would have an outlet then for and scope for employment. Guidance counselors in schools, and we can deal with this problem. So we're going to be proactive. We know that we can do it with your help. We're going to involve you in people's assemblies. So for example, if you are so kind to re-elect me, and the Barbados Labour Party, now as the government, I can have to come to Weston every couple of months or some other part of the constituency, and you're gonna be able to question me and say, Eddie, Edmund, I want the Mr. Hinkson. I feel you all got good ideas. This is a good thing you all doing it. But I feel that you should do it this way because you all have more knowledge. You certainly have more knowledge and capacity than the vast majority of Democratic Labour Party members of Parliament who just left Parliament. And in a lot of cases, your knowledge, especially local, better than any politician, one or the technocrats in any ministry. And you all have in fact given us ideas for this manifesto here. Because we have, as you know, rubbed shoulders with you for the last three and a half years. And you all have given us ideas. This manifesto here, mini manifesto, as was mentioned, we have a bigger one, 70-something pages. I haven't read that yet because this mini manifesto here says it all. A one-leaf manifesto document that Liz Thompson, who here had a major role in compiling, working hard at our party leaders' home regularly over the last few weeks to compile this. A magnificent effort, never seen anything like this, certainly in the Eastern Caribbean. And that after we, the candidates, parliamentary team of the Barbados Labour Party spent hours on end, sometimes till 4 o'clock in the morning at the Barbados Labour Party formulating policy. I was in on it from reasonably early, helping draft various aspects and making an input into the manifesto, the pledges of the Barbados Labour Party, the promises that we will fulfill because our manifesto pledges are a social contract with you, the people of Barbados. And this is the first time that in either political party, the parliamentary team would have had a wide input into the policies. Previously, the candidates used to hear like everybody else when the manifesto get launched, were in the manifesto. Not so now. And we even put the draft on our website 2-3 months ago so you can have an input on our policy as we were proposing it. We know that we can bring this country back from the brink. We need your help. In addition to the People Assembly, we can have a form of local government. Not like the constituency council that got to sign up here somewhere, 12 or well, then they reduce it to 9 hand-picked people by a Minister of Social Care and Constituency Development. Not like that at all. You're gonna have a part in electing a couple or about 3 or 4 of the members of the local government form, however we will constitute it. Here in St. James North, I look forward to continuing the plans that you all have given me the opportunity of which I feel so proud about to do and to perform over the last 5 years. We will, for example, continue our training programs, which you heard about, our job creation program, so that our young people, our underemployed and unemployed, can get jobs and get skills, be in a position to earn their own living. We will address the challenges of the Zone 1 area. That is 2 of the less than 70 buses in Barbados that just passed. We will address the challenges of the Zone 1 area because a large part of our constituency, as you know, subject to Zone 1, which has to be an archaic policy when in the year 2080 you have technology to deal with the situation. It can't be that people still have pit toilets in certain parts of the constituency because they can't build indoor water facilities. And we in the Barbados Labour Party, in our manifesto, we pledge to remove every single pit toilet, all 5,000 that still lie across Barbados, because all women, for example, got to be able, when nature calls them at 2 o'clock in the morning, to have an indoor toilet and bathroom facility rather than have to go out in the outside through rain. It can't be so. We have to treat our people better. And as Mahatma Gandhi said, a society is judged by how it treats its most vulnerable. In St. James North, of course, you know I will make it my call I will fight with every last blood of my body to improve the lives of people with disabilities. And we have to pass disability legislation, giving people with disabilities equal employment and educational opportunities like everyone else in this country. We were pledged to improve the roads, up Mount Stanfast Way, Jeff, Sharon, June, O'Hara. It is an apology that road works were started up there before the 2008 election. But when the Barbados Labour Party removed in office, nothing done. The roads still in the same state, in fact worse than they were. Rockdunder, the Wim Aston Hall, Sign Hill, all these areas. And I would have written the Minister of Public Works within 6 weeks of becoming a Member of Parliament, asking for all these roads, about 20 roads in St. James North to be repaired. Not one repaired. We have to look at creating open environment recreational facilities for children along this course. And we will confront that challenge. We need to have a program for house repairs for all people, not like the Dems that, as I said, refuse to put a piece of wood, even though we've written so many letters to various ministries, whether it's the Rural Development Commission, the National Assistance Board, asking for assistance in this respect. So I look forward to continuing to be your representative after the elections on Thursday next week. I don't want you to assume that Edmund Hinkson's safe and that Edmund Hinkson gonna win and that Edmund Hinkson don't need your vote. We need every vote. Support is nothing, it's a vote. And the vote got to be cast not even the whole day between 6 and 6. There's somebody sitting on a block at 10 to 6 saying he's supporting Edmund Hinkson. No use to me unless he gets to the poll within the next 10 minutes. We have confidence in you, the people of St. James North, that you will do as you have done for the last 70 years since adult suffrage, since black people had the vote, and elect me to be parliamentary representative as the Barbados Labour Party candidate in this constituency. In every case that was the case except for one odd occasion, an aberration in 1986. But we need you. We need you to canvass and to implore your friends, your relatives in other parts of Barbados, in Christchurch and St. Michael, especially the battleground seats, to bring in the Barbados Labour Party candidates, because we need to have a comfortable victory. And I don't want anyone saying that the Barbados Labour Party can win the election and we therefore have to vote for a strong opposition. There's nothing called a strong opposition. That's going to look after itself. You vote for a government, you don't vote for an opposition. We need you to help us help you. We need to bring back hope and prosperity to this country, to put Barbados back to where it was as the leading small island developing country in the world, about to embark on developed country status. And we know that we will do that with your will. I thank you. Good night.